Hello, and welcome to the San Francisco International Arts Festival 2019 interview series. Today we have Shambhavi Dandekar from the Shambhavi International School of Kathak. She will be interviewed by Rucha Bahave.
Everybody. Namaskar. This is Rucha Bhave. We are here to interview my guru Shambhavi Dandekar for the San Francisco International Art Festival. A little bit of introduction from my end. I've been learning Kathak dance from Shambhavi Tai for more than 25 years now, from India originally, and then now here in Bay Area. And it's a great occasion, and very excited to have this interview or this opportunity to interview you.
Thank you so much, Rucha.
Let's begin with the first question.
Sure.
I've noticed that for this Kathak festival, for this art festival, we have all different form of dances, but it's the only us who have been presenting Kathak dance.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what is different Kathak than the other dance forms?
Certainly. That's a good question to begin with, by the way. So, Kathak is a North Indian classical dance form, and it finds its roots in the temples of ancient India, from the North India. In those times, the storytellers from small villages in North India, they used to narrate and tell stories from epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata from Indian mythology in front of all the villagers every evening, and that was the only mode of entertainment available in those days. So the storytelling used to be highly intriguing and highly entertaining. And slowly, the art of storytelling evolved to be the dance that we call Kathak today. So it's an interesting evolution, and what stays permanent even today in Kathak is narrating the stories. So we narrate stories of rhythm, we narrate stories of various characters, and all in all, Kathak is a great mode of communication from the artist to the audience.
Very nice. How was your journey related to Kathak? We would definitely love to know that.
So I was lucky to be born in a family of artists. All my close relatives, including my parents, my grandparents, they have been artists in one form or the other. And you know that my mother, Pandita Maneesha Sathe, is a very prominent name in the field of Kathak back in India. She is one of the topmost gurus or teachers in India. So I started my Kathak journey at a very young age, I would say. Since I was a kid, I was always inclined. I used to watch her. I used to look forward to learning from her. And she gently, slowly, and steadily guided me into Kathak and made sure that it wasn't getting too much for me. At my age of 18, I started performing and teaching independently, and the journey has been going on since then. I moved to the Bay Area from India in 2013. It's been 6 years now, a little over 5 years now. And I've just continued doing what I was doing in India, teaching, performing, choreographing. I continued doing it here. That's pretty much about it.
Right. So, how did you form SISK, which is Shambhavi International School of Kathak?
Yeah.
And how did you conceive it?
Okay, so what happened was when I started teaching at the age of 18, I used to run a branch of Maneesha Nrityalaya, our umbrella organization, which was started by my mother, Maneesha ji. So I used to run a branch of Maneesha Nrityalaya in Pune, India. But then around 2010, I saw a need of establishing a dance school which would cater to international students, not just students in Pune, India, but I wanted a bigger profile, I wanted a global profile. And that's what made me create SISK, or Shambhavi's International School of Kathak. Then we started getting international students visit me in Pune. I used to teach them summer intensives. And later on, my life just brought me here. I mean, that wasn't planned, but I came here, and then I think SISK got an international platform, literally.
Right. Great. What would we see this time at the festival, which you're presenting, SISK is presenting?
Well, we are presenting all group choreographies in the festival this time. And by the way, SISK is going to be a part of SFIAF for the first time this year. So we are really excited about it. So to talk about our performance, I think I need to talk a little bit about SISK troupe, SISK Dance Ensemble first. This year's troupe consists of a couple of my students from India who have trained me, just like you, for a long time. Then I have another bunch of students who have been training with me here in the Bay Area for the last 5 years. And then there is a bunch of other students who train with me from time to time, but they don't live here in the Bay Area. They live in other cities of United States, and they are also coming in and just to be a part of this festival. So all in all of us are looking forward to having a great time rehearsing and just conversing about the performance. And I'm sure the excitement and the joy that we share with each other, it's going to show and reflect in our performances. So to get back to the content of the performance, the performance is titled as Horizons, Kathak and Beyond. So through Horizons, and again, the name Horizons. So classical arts, especially Indian classical dance forms, are like an ocean. So you swim for miles together just to realize that there's so much more to go. You don't see the end, and that's the kind of vastness that we come across every day as classical artists. So I'm going to tap into the abundance, the freedom, the vastness that this art offers me as an artist, and at the same time trying to push the boundaries of traditional Kathak, yet maintaining the traditional and the authenticity of Kathak. It is an ancient art form, so that's my duty as an artist to maintain the classicism. But through all the 4 pieces that will be performing in the festival this year, there'll be something different about each piece. In the Ganesh Vandana, with which we'll begin the performance, it's going to be a group performance, so it'll have a great variety of movements and formations which are a part of it. But it's also an 8th century Sanskrit poetry written by Adi Shankaracharya. And Adi Shankaracharya is not performed much in Kathak. We all know that. So that's our effort to salute the tradition and salute the Indian spirituality, I would say, through our art. The technical section of our performance is going to be in 11 beats, and the piece is titled as 11. Now, what's unique about this piece is that, unlike the traditional repertoire of Tal section in Kathak, this is intertwined, this is wrapped beautifully in an original music score. And there are times when music takes the lead, and there are times when rhythm takes the lead. So it's a great give and take between music and rhythm. In the storytelling section, the Abhinaya section of Kathak, we are going to present a very humor-filled piece. We all know that thumris and bhajans can really get serious, and a lot of times they force you to look within and introspect. But this one is a very humorous piece. You know, I have seen that it makes people laugh, and it gives a nice light ring to the performance. We are going to end with a very special finale, which I would just like to keep a suspense about it, and I would like to like people to come and watch and feel what I'm trying to say about the finale.
That's great. You talked about group choreographies right now, but initially you mentioned that Kathak is actually like a solo dance form.
Yes.
Eventually it evolved.
Yes.
Why do you feel it was the need, and how did you move on to it?
Okay, so yes, it's a fact that just not Kathak, but most of the Indian classical art forms have been solo arts. Now, why did they evolve to be group art, dance forms as they are today? I think there was some influence from the Western world as well, and some influence from the folk dances of India. You know, folk dances of India offer a great variety, and they are always performed in a group. Then there are some theatrical dance forms like Kudiyattam and Kathakali, of course, and Rasleela, which give us another chance to look at the possibilities that we can present through the group. I think group presents gives the choreographer a great chance to switch the focus from one place to the other, explore the space in an amazingly different way. And I should also say that I have always been lucky to get extremely dedicated and highly talented students. I mean, there's also this fact that I've always gone to great lengths in training the students, but I've always been lucky. So even now, SISK Dance Ensemble is an amazing group, you know. It's top notch when it comes to synchronization, technical prowess, and the ability to express through face and gesture language. So I think it's something that everybody will be very happy to watch.
Talking about the festival and the kind of audience we are going to have, you know, what is the message you would like to tell them? Especially, we might have budding dancers, art lovers, people who have never seen Kathak
That's
before.
correct.
So, what would you like to tell them?
Okay, that's a very good question. Because every time I perform, I have an audience in front of me, which is a mix of what all you said. And as an artist, it's my duty to elevate and satisfy and educate the audience that is in front of me. But do I perform only for the audience? I don't think so. I perform to satisfy myself, my artistic urge to begin with. I perform because I love dancing. But in turn, it is also my duty to get across, to reach out to my audience and let them know about what I am performing, what's coming ahead. And I think just to be able to get the audience in confidence, by doing that, I achieve a lot, I think. So this, in the horizons as well, I think it's a great mix of beauty, technique, talent, and virtuosity.
Wow.
So even if somebody walks in who's a stranger to the dance form, that person is going to be mesmerized by what's going to go on in front of them. So I think for the audience, I would just like to say that come, sit back, relax, and enjoy the performance.
Awesome. So, just to wrap up the interview, would you like to remind all our audience about the date and when we are performing at the festival?
Definitely. To begin with, I would like to thank San Francisco International Arts Festival for this podcast, as well as giving us so many opportunities and avenues to market this performance. I really appreciate it. Horizons, Kathak and Beyond, coupled with The Earth Speaks, a Bharatanatyam production by Jyotsna Vaidi and troupe, is going to be presented in SFIAF on May 25th, starting at 5:30 p.m. The show is going to be 90 minutes long. And before the show, we are going to have a panel discussion. You might know that it's going to be a day of Indian classical dances. So we are going to also have an afternoon show, followed by panel discussion, and then followed by our performance. That's about it. The tickets are already on sale. People can go on the SFIF website and buy their tickets sooner than later.
Thank you to Shambhavi and Rucha for joining us. Next, we have Jyotsna Vaidi, the founder and artistic director of Samudra Dance Creations, and she'll be interviewed by Colton Africano.
So Jyotsna, can you tell us a little bit how you got started?
Sure. So it's a long story, but a long story short, like dance has sort of been an ongoing passion for me. And as with many artists, it started as a hobby. And it's hard to say exactly when, but at some point in my adult life, I realized like this is my profession. And dance has actually been a parallel stream for me because I'm also a engineer. and I've had a long tech career at Google. I manage a large. I'm a product manager at Google, and but dance has sort of been this parallel stream throughout the time, and yeah, so it's sort of for most part I've been a soloist, and more recently sort of made a transition towards doing more ensemble work.
So why Samudra Dance Creations?
Yeah, Samudra Dance Creations is a company that I formed about 2 years ago, and it came out of this idea that at this point in my dance career, I sort of realized that I really wanted to actually break out of the solo mold and actually do ensemble work and bring artists together. The goal of Samudra is multifold. One, it is a platform where we can bring really well-trained artists, dancers, musicians. In this production, we also have Western musicians, we have poets, we have a spoken word poet, and hopefully in the future even other kinds of multidimensional artists that can come together to create a really high-quality professional work. So that's sort of the mission behind Samudra. The other kind of aspect of Samudra was or is that I am heavily trained in Indian classical dance, but to me, especially over the years, as I've been in this for several decades, I've realized classical art, dance, and music together is essentially a language, a vocabulary that can be used to communicate varied themes. And me personally, I kind of grew up all over the place, Canada and across the board. So for me, it's been important to explore themes that are current to sort of my generation, people living here at this point in time. And I think that, the classical arts actually do allow us to explore both sort of traditional themes as well as, what we would consider a contemporary theme. And that's another big goal of Samudra is kind of exploring and pushing the boundaries on the kind of themes we can work on with classical arts. And it just so happens that this is something again I sort of discovered very organically, but I'm definitely drawn towards social justice themes, as you will see with our new production, which we will talk about. So in fact last year we premiered our first production called The Caged Bird Sings, and it was around this idea of women's empowerment, and it, the production was premiered actually at the San Francisco Arts Festival. So it was a great start to when I founded Samudra. We were able to build this production and be a part of this prestigious festival.
So you said something about your new upcoming production. It's titled The Earth Speaks. Would you tell us a little bit about that and maybe what was the inspiration behind it?
Sure, yeah. The Earth Speaks I would say, is something that I started thinking about more than 2 years ago. And it started with a couple different things. One, as I mentioned, I'm Canadian. And I was in Canada at the Glacier National Park, which is, for people who don't know, it's also called the Columbian Ice Fields. And it's as you can imagine, it's a glacier park. And it used to be like my family vacation. Like every summer we would go to this glacier park. And a couple of years ago I went there with my kids. And it was, and I was going there after a really long time. And it was pretty shocking because the only thing the guides who take you to the glacier point could talk about was how much the glaciers had receded. And it was hard for me to fathom. I mean, of course you hear about it and this is happening, but this is a place that I'd grown up. I'd been there as a kid, as a high school kid, as a college kid. So it kind of really hit home for me that climate change is real. And we all talk about it, but it's only when sort of something, happens that it kind of hits you. And for me, what it hit was, what is this world I'm going to leave behind for my kids? And so that sort of was the starting point of, thinking about this. And as an artist, what came to me was to create art about this. And so The Earth Speaks really is a production about climate change. It's a story, and we've taken a very interesting approach, though. It is a story of a woman, a very empowered woman, who is a metaphor for the earth. And that's why it's called The Earth Speaks. And because one of the things that I was thinking about is only in art can you humanize something like the earth. And, what would she say if she was right here in this room standing with us about all that's happening around us and all that's happening to her? So that's kind of the interesting approach, the storytelling approach we've taken to deal with a difficult topic like climate change. So that's sort of the inspiration or the backdrop of our production.
That's awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about your approach and maybe a little about your team?
Definitely. So the approach you've taken. So when I started thinking about this a couple years ago, a lot of research went into building this production. I think I had to understand some of the science behind climate change. B, I also looked at history. So what are the other environmental movements? What have people who have lived in harmony with nature? What has worked? What has not worked? And also telling the stories of those people. So a lot of research went into it. I think what we've ended up with is a story from the perspective of this woman who is a metaphor for the earth. We, in this production, is really exciting because we have set original music score, because as you can imagine, the script is completely original. So we had to set completely new music. We have combined Carnatic music, which is the South Indian classical form, with some Western music. We have a cello artist who is part of this production as well. And then we also have very beautifully written spoken word poetry by a poet who is a former PhD from Berkeley. And all of this, the poetry and the music, is all brought to life by an ensemble of dancers. And these dancers are all highly trained. I'm also performing. I'm dancing as well. And all of this is brought to life through the dance. So it's a combination of the music, the spoken word poetry, which is a very important anchor because the poetry is from the voice of this woman. So it is what's speaking to, giving her that voice, humanizing her. So this production kind of really brings together the music, the poetry, the dance. All of it is like original, completely from scratch, and that we're really excited to be building for this San Francisco Arts Festival. I would say this is still a work in progress. We will be presenting a segment of this for the San Francisco Arts Festival, but we hope to continue building on this and build this into a larger full-length evening show.
So what would you tell our audience members that are interested in going to the festival? What would you tell them? Why should they come to your show?
That's a great question. For me, it's three main things. One is our production, and especially with Samudra, like I work only with professional artists. So it's first and foremost, it's going to be a high quality, both high quality dance, music, entertaining evening. And second, the theme that we have picked, which is about climate change, is about the earth. It cuts across all boundaries. It's applicable to all cultures. It cuts across all ages. I've actually been discussing the script a lot with my 10-year-old, and it's been great to see it come alive through her eyes. So it's applicable to a wide range of audience. And lastly, I would say especially with something that is so important to what is happening to us as we are on this planet right now. I hope that everybody takes something different away from this evening. And I think as with art, I do hope that every person will have a different interpretation. And, some might see it as a call to action. Some may just may leave with a feeling. But at the end of the day, I hope that it will be something that really that audiences enjoy, and also kind of encourages a dialogue about this really important issue.
Well, I, for one, am excited to see your performance. Would you mind telling us when and where it is?
Absolutely. So our show is on May 25th, 5:30 p.m. at the Cowell Theater. Please get your tickets soon, and we really hope to see you with your family and your friends, and come support us and support the festival, the San Francisco Arts Festival.
Thank you to Jyotsna and Colton. Next, we have Vaishali Ramachandran. She's the administrative manager and classical dancer from Abhinaya Dance Company, and she'll be representing Abhinaya and Guru Shraddha today. So for the upcoming San Francisco International Arts Festival, can you please describe what you're going to be showcasing?
Sure. So in the SFIAF on May 25th, there is going to be a day-long showcases of many dance forms, many Indian classical dance forms. Abhinaya Dance Company and Guru Shraddha will be presenting Bharatanatyam and Odissi. Guru Shraddha will be presenting Odissi at 2 p.m. and Abhinaya Dance Company will be presenting Bharatanatyam at 2:45 p.m.
So can you tell us more about the Indian dance styles that you just mentioned and how they differ from one another?
Sure. So both Odissi and Bharatanatyam are two of the oldest surviving Indian classical dance forms as of today. They're very similar because both of them have a very unique way of bringing the narrative to the audience and expressing the narrative to the audience, yet they are a little different. Odissi originates from Orissa, which is the eastern part of India. It uses mainly two aspects to the dance, which is the nritta and the abhinaya. The nritta is the rhythmic dance and the abhinaya is the expressional dance. So you can clearly make out the difference between an Odissi dancer and the others because of their postures. So Odissi uses chauka and tribangi, two of very unique postures for Odissi. Bharatanatyam, which is from the southern India, at the same time also has abhinaya and nritta, which is the expressional dance and the rhythmic dance styles. But it uses this to tell the narrative to the audience and bring out beautiful stories. The postures in Bharatanatyam will be mainly aramandi, which is like a deeper plie, something like used in ballet, but a little deeper than that. Yeah.
So what more can you tell us about Abhinaya Dance Company?
Abhinaya Dance Company is founded by Maithili Kumar, the artistic director, in 1980. Since 1986, Abhinaya has been doing many full-length themed productions, some contemporary themes, some very traditionally rooted mythological themes. And from then on, she's been doing many thematic productions till date. Abhinaya has got many grants from the National Endowment Association, some city and state grants, and Abhinaya does a lot of collaborative work with many artists around Bay Area, many companies. Currently, Abhinaya offers classes in San Jose and Montessorino.
So is there anything you can tell us about Guru Shraddha?
Guru Shraddha is a non-profit dance company which was established by Niharika Mohanty in 2008. Niharika Mohanty is a very, very popular and famous Odissi dancer. Guru Shraddha is a famous and premier dance institution, Odissi dance institution in the North America.
And so what can you tell us about Abhinaya Dance Company's performance this year?
Abhinaya will be presenting a very compelling show this year, I Have a Dream. It's the struggles and life stories of Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. Rasika Kumar, a very compelling dancer, will be presenting Rosa Parks as a solo to some saxophone music. And the dancers from Abhinaya Dance Company will be presenting the life stories of Martin Luther King, the struggles and his life. So we'll start off maybe with the bus boycott, and then we'll show glimpses of the Birmingham March, and we'll end with the Washington March. And the whole show will be concluded with the aspects of current affairs, which are very relevant in US today.
And what can you tell us about Guru Shraddha's performance?
Guru Shraddha will be presenting the traditional repertoire Odissi pieces, 3 pieces. Some of it will include the timeless creation of the legendary Guru Kelucharan Mohapatra and a very contemporary choreography of his son Ratikant Mohapatra.
So I'm excited to see your performance. Can you tell us more about the dates and where the performance will be?
Sure. Our performance is at the Cowell Theater as a part of the San Francisco International Arts Festival. Guru Shraddha will be performing at 2 p.m. and Abhinaya Dance Company at 2:45. We would love to have you all there. Looking forward to seeing you all with your family and friends.
Thank you to each of the artists for joining us today. This year's festival runs from May 23rd to June 2nd. For tickets or more information, you can go to sfiaf.org, and we'll see you at the Fort Mason Center.